Okay, so we're going to start sharing stories over here that I feel like simply are just too much for the other place, if you know what I mean. When I tell stories and when I receive stories, and all the stories that I tell you, I do receive. There are some that I get, and I think this really reads like a creative writing prompt. I want to believe, because I want to believe everyone's truth, but at the same time, there are some stories that I get that I'm like, I cannot tell this on that other platform because people over there cannot put together a valid argument with X, Y, and Z without cursing, threatening, and being hateful. It just, I don't know what happened over there, but it's just not possible. They just can't do it. So anytime that I get a story where I think, I don't know, this is wild, I'm not going to share it over there. It's not going to happen. So those are all going to be here. I'm about to get ready for the day, but I just decided we would do this. And this one is so well, I'm going to read this to you verbatim, the email that was sent to me. I am not going to tell you this person's name, where they're from, or who they are, but basically the email said that I found you on TikTok. I'm wondering if you can tell my story. I do not have the emotional availability to tell this story myself online. I just need help. I would like to remain anonymous if you are interested in telling my story for me. I need help pushing it out to try and find people who may have had similar experiences. This PDF contains my experience that lasted about 2 years. I summarized it as best I could to a few short pages, but you may cut it however you need. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to cut anything out. Let's see. The main subject, as we know it, is possession. It has been medically confirmed. It is not mental illness. I myself did not get possessed, but I constantly had to experience that with my ex. Life feels so odd. Just living like this never happened. I still have a ton of PTSD, and it has messed with my beliefs heavily. I desperately need help getting my story out there. This segment of my experience I recalled and wrote was meant to be submitted for a book of paranormal activity in my town, but my ex's family found out I was publishing it and called the author to tell them they can't use my experience because they want to protect their reputation. I don't even mention who they are or have any details about their personality. I really hope this reaches you, and thank you so much for your time. So, I don't really know who I thought I was thinking that I could read that without my glasses, so we're going to try that again. All right, now that I have my eyes on, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to read this to you verbatim. This is the email that came to me. I will be omitting some information because I feel like it is identifying, and since this person does want to be anonymous, I don't want to throw that out there. So here we go. It begins with the mutter of their existence. Curiosity is a human nature embedded in all of us, yet I let it get the best of me. Residing down in the basement of an apartment around the center of, not going to say the name of the town, I was with my now ex-boyfriend of almost 2 years at that time, who I was living with due to COVID. He began to reveal to me the existence of energy, auras, his own past experiences with what we will call entities. As he began to reveal more to me about the energy he sees and information he has received, that is when it triggered something unknown. It started with objects. A smoothed, curved wooden handle edged with gold packed a silver blade sharp with reflection. My boyfriend displayed his pocket knife on a table leaning against a TV so he could see it often. The knife rested with the blade and handle bent to touch the table. This is important because gravity with the weight of the knife did not allow for the knife to rest upside down. Until we began to find it flipped. We were unsuccessful in discovering how it flipped because we were unable to replicate the position it was in, as it would fall over each time. While we found no explanation, my boyfriend and I knew the cause, but prayed for another. After a few days of talking about the subject I will refer to as spirituality, more items began to misplace themselves. The next item was just a regular lemon-scented Yankee candle. We walked out of the basement and back down to see the candle I lit across the room suddenly sitting next to the flipped knife. This, of course, can appear as misremembering the locations or positions of these items, but this is just the beginning. Okay, I just needed coffee. Side note, so I am a wedding coordinator, and every time people have weddings, I get these little cups for free, like the ones that they don't want anymore. This one's Peyton and Brock. Peyton and Brock were really cool, but they're the best iced coffee cups, so... Aesthetics. I don't know. It just, whatever. Girl, I don't know. All right, we're going to continue. After about 2 or 3 weeks of speaking about spirituality together, the knife continued flipping. Objects would continue disappearing. New scars were forming on my boyfriend's body out of thin air. He would feel the sudden pain of being cut and have me check the skin to find long red scratches on his back, neck, and arms. A particular time we were trying to discuss and find out what was going on, his neck began burning. He said it felt like someone was slicing his lightly with a blade. While pointing to the location, I watched his skin turning red. To my right of his Adam's apple on his throat, a horizontal cut began to form. I watched with my own eyes the skin on his neck begin to open and bleed from nothing. It did not cut deep enough to gush or cause permanent scarring, but he had to cover it up for months. What is the excuse for how he got a scar that truly appeared out of nowhere? We were baffled, confused, and overall worried. My boyfriend and I turned to crystal grids and pocket stones, hoping they would help. Unfortunately, it seemed to have zero effect. Our crystals would disappear for days, just to appear back, sitting on top of my bed in plain sight. Crystals and, oddly, water bottles were used to create a large, approximately 8-foot by 5-foot cross upon the floor of my bedroom. Pocket stones we would place on a table would arrange themselves into the shapes of serpents. My boyfriend and I both knew we weren't seeing things. This was happening. We didn't know exactly what was going on, and we certainly were not ready for the next year and a half of torture that this brought among us. Sitting on the couch one night while internet diving for explanations of the paranormal activity, my boyfriend began suddenly convulsing in pain. I felt him seizing in my arms, and all I could do was hold him to try to understand what was happening. Then he sat up and looked at me differently. His eyes were filled with fire of an imploding star, and his smile widened to a vicious snarl. I didn't run. I didn't scream. For my boyfriend's sake and the safety of my family upstairs, I jumped onto him, holding his arms down. His body resisted as his voice screeched out in the lowest tone he could create, "I'm going to get you." His body fell unconscious. I panicked and cried for him to wake up. When he came back to his body, I was scared, but he was clueless. I asked him if he knew what just happened, but he did not. He had a whole different experience. As this first entity entered his headspace, he was pulled from his physical body and tortured in his astral body, which was not exactly human. My boyfriend believed he was out of his body for days, but it was only a minute. Time is a theory, and there were many instances in which it was proven to me. This first entity came back almost every 24 hours from that day on. Within 2 weeks, the first entity was coming through my boyfriend's body multiple times a day. Within days of this beginning, I knew when the entity was in my boyfriend's body just by the look in his eyes and the tweak of his neck. We did not know how to stop this, so whenever this entity came through, no matter how inconvenient, we would just roll with it. This first entity appeared aggressive, yet we learned that he was there under another entity's orders. Masculine and scarred with pain, this entity was surveilling my boyfriend's whole life. Taking up the space worse entities could enter. He almost protected my boyfriend while teaching him what he knew in his dreams. We were never too friendly, this first entity and I. I just did not know yet the horrid souls I would come to meet, and it has made me view the first entity very differently now. One day, my boyfriend and I were helping my parents move boxes out of the basement of the apartment. Not long into it, the entity came through, yet he actually continued to act like my boyfriend in front of my family. We could never let them know. They could not understand. The entity in my boyfriend's body helped me carry boxes back and forth as I attempted to gain information as to why he is here, and the answer I got was not so thrilling. Accusations of murder, war, and energetic harvesting was explained to me while I was looking into my boyfriend's eyes, familiar yet a stranger's. Unfortunately, this first entity also explained he is only one of many things working for a higher-up entity. I refer to them as entities because they were not all earthbound. This first one had never seen such colors. He was amazed with the planet through human eyes. The idea of invention and technology fascinated him. It was not long until it was his time to leave. I can barely remember my last conversations with this entity, but I know he did not intend to leave the body nor this earth. My dog has decided to join us. Big Pete! Oh, sweet boy. You want to listen to the story? Okay. Anyways. New entities began entering my boyfriend's body. He convulsed, almost seizing into unconsciousness on my bed as I prepared to deal with the entity. I held him, saying my boyfriend's name, hoping he could stay, but instead I got pushed off of him, thrown straight into my dresser across the room. This gets heavy. Before I could get up or even process the pain, my boyfriend's body was already lunging at me with murder in his eyes and a big white smile, almost laughing. I didn't want to hurt my boyfriend's body. I couldn't just kick back, could I? I led him close to me and began wrestling on the floor, fighting to hold him down with all of my strength. As I grabbed him, my nails broke his skin, leaving scratches. This entity was spewing vile insults in a terrifying, screeching tone. My ex's body is about the same size as mine, but at first it was very hard holding it down. His hands squeezed my wrists as hard as his body could, and the entity flailed to escape. Loving the pain as he injured the body in the process, the body began convulsing again, seizing, almost reacting to a burn. I kept holding him down, yelling his name, calling for my boyfriend to come back. This aggressive entity hollered in pain as it left my boyfriend's body. He lay there, unconscious on my bedroom floor, almost on my lap as I stared at him. I looked at my wrist and saw extreme bruising from my boyfriend's hands. I felt the bump on the back of my head and the pain in my back from the dresser. I stared back at his body and traced along the scratches I had left on his neck, feeling the sweat drip from his skin. He regained consciousness within a few minutes, and all we could do was hug each other. We explained our sides of what we experienced and sympathized. There was no one we could go to. No matter how badly we wanted to tell someone, we knew they couldn't understand. We had our hopes up for a few people through crystal shops, but that hope was annihilated. Later entities explained to me that the ones physically harming me are a type of entity called Cheems. It is spelled Chiems. Cheems. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. I don't know if that's correct, so if you have a different pronunciation, I apologize. But she goes on to say that she is going to refer to these entities as Cheems through the duration of this story. So when you hear me say that, it means entity. As soon as I was done fighting my first Cheem in my room, my boyfriend's body became an open vessel. Not long after the first Cheem left, we thought it would be over. A new soul entered his body. He convulsed quickly, and this new soul entered afraid. His head jerked up, and his eyes darted around the room and then to me. I was ready to hold the body down for whatever was about to happen, but instead this entity called out someone's name, someone we didn't know. They seemed more scared than I was. "Who are you?" I asked while attempting to not pose a threat. "Where is she? Where's my wife?" The entity in my boyfriend's body said, "Where am I? Is this heaven? Why isn't she here?" My heart broke for this soul. "You are in my boyfriend's body." It's an awkward way to start a conversation, but yeah, that happened a lot. "This is Earth, year 2021. What is the last thing you remember?" I needed to get as much information as possible from every entity I met. I think I died," he said as tears began streaming from my boyfriend's eyes. "You died on Earth. Are you human?" I questioned, since I learned not all of these entities are from Earth. "Yes, I'm human. What do you mean?" He yelled through the tears and frustration. "I just want to see my wife. Where am I?" He continued crying. I didn't know what to do. "I'm sorry. I don't know. You will get back to her soon. I promise." I didn't know that, but I truly hoped he did. I thought to myself of how I could get my boyfriend back into his body. The last entity that hurt me left when I touched him, when I was angry. "Let me try something. I am going to touch your chest." I stepped towards my boyfriend's sobbing body and embraced this human soul with good energy and the intention of sending him home to his love. "What's happening? Where am I going? I don't want to go. I can't go to hell." He rambled through tears as his chest began to shake. "Please stop." I felt his pain and cried with him as he left the body. It's okay, I yelled and hoped. I'm sending you to your wife. It's okay. I reiterated. My boyfriend's body fell unconscious. The body was an open vessel again. I put my arms around him as fast as I could, yelling his name, calling for him to wake up, yet no answer. While weeping over his body, I was checking his breathing to make sure he's even alive. He laid in my lap, passed out as if he was sleeping. Where is he? Where is my boyfriend? I called his name. "Please just be okay. Come back." His eyes opened again. "Baby?" my boyfriend said. He was back. I cried and explained what had just happened, apologizing for his body's pain. Still remaining in my room, located in the basement, we held each other and tried to process what happened. After about 20 minutes, getting our emotions together, sitting on the chair in my room, my boyfriend began to convulse again. "No, here we go again," my boyfriend said as he was exiting his body. "Just come back, please stay, I said, trying not to cry again. I held down his arms and prepared for what would come. I was already so exhausted. There were so many entities going through his body this day, I couldn't remember it all. His body stopped convulsing and his eyes opened wide, oddly wide. His body didn't move. He just looked at me, around the room, and back at me. "Are you an angel?" My boyfriend's eyes looked at me sweetly, but it wasn't him. I took my hands off his shoulders and stepped away. "No, I am human. Are you human?" I asked the soul, curious. It was nice getting a break from fighting my boyfriend's body, but the conversations I had with human souls left me confused and heartbroken. I can see. Wow, look around. Is this heaven?" This soul spoke slowly, with a rasp in my boyfriend's voice. Like a much older gentleman. He seemed scared at first. All humans that come through the body were. I tried to show I was not a threat. "Where am I?" this man asked. Not heaven. You're in name of town. The year's 2021, though. What year was it that you last remember? I asked. What do you mean you can see? Could you not see before? I wanted his response, and I watched as the entity admired the world through my boyfriend's eyes. I was blind. I was always blind. I think I died. His face saddened, but he quickly smiled, looking around, taking in the colors. I remember sitting on a bench in a park. I lived in New York. It was 1983, last I remember. Is this almost time travel? How could a soul who died so long ago enter my boyfriend's body after he died? Was he just meant to see the earth with human eyes, or is this some kind of mistake? Could this be mental illness? Then I remember the scratches, the symbols, the knife, and the candle, and all just seems too real. Okay, wow. So I do not know how you got here, but I'm going to have to send you away. You are in my boyfriend's body, and I'm just trying to get his soul back. If you could understand. I felt so insane saying this to this soul and to anyone else. But I have so many questions about the future. Where am I going to go? Will I be able to see? The old man asked me. I wish I had time to answer his questions, but my boyfriend gets tortured with every minute. I honestly don't know, but I'm going to try to send you somewhere peaceful, okay? I told him, unsure as to what I even meant. I just wanted these souls to go somewhere that is their version of heaven. How? He asked. I stepped closer and put my hand on my boyfriend's body's chest. I embraced this soul with love and hope as I tried to send him out of my boyfriend's body. I envisioned light taking these souls somewhere all the pain can be released, and I truly hope it worked for them. My boyfriend's body started convulsing again as I held him. Thank you, the old man said, exiting the body in tears. You are an angel. The body fell unconscious, and I hugged him as he remained in the chair. Crying into his chest, I don't know what to do. I don't understand why this is happening. All I can do is hold him and wait. I said his name over and over. Through the snot and tears, I cried for his soul to return. His eyes popped open, staring daggers at the ceiling, then to me again. Not him, his body exclaimed. Not him, his body exclaimed, shoving me to the ground. The body jumped up out of the chair. The entity laughed demonically, running out of my room towards the television where the knife resides. I followed him out of the room to try and stop him, but the entity already picked up the knife. I could tell this was a Chim inside the body doing anything it takes to cause pain and disruption. And from the vile insults, I couldn't let it harm the body, so when I saw the knife being held, I tackled the body. I knocked the knife out of the Chim's hands and held the body to the ground, screaming for it to burn. The body convulsed and the Chim exited. That one was quick, I thought, calling my boyfriend's name again. I laid on the floor with him, trying to get him back. I just want him to stay. His eyes opened again, and I began to hold him down, preparing for the worst. My boyfriend said. I cried harder and hugged him on the floor as tight as I could. We explained our sides again, and while I thought I was going through it, when his soul isn't in his body, he is still off being tortured in some realm for months, years to hundreds of years, he explained. I cried for him every time he left his body. New entities and souls were entering my boyfriend's body daily for months. I finished my junior year of high school online, yet I barely remember anything from it because I was fighting Chims through my boyfriend's body with my camera off the whole time. The summer of 2021 flew by as all we did was wake up, deal with entities to the point that we were exhausted, and we would just fall asleep. A particularly sunny day by the cemetery in town's name, my boyfriend and I were attempting to enjoy the sun. We were walking and suddenly saw a large beetle-like bug. I saw it first and kept walking because honestly, not a fan of large bugs, but I did think it was oddly different than anything I've ever seen. My boyfriend followed, but instead of ignoring the bug, he pointed it out and had me walk back. Don't touch it, I told him. He then attempted to pick it up. The large beetle disappeared quickly after being touched, and suddenly my boyfriend was convulsing again. Dozens of Chims swarmed through his body that day at the park, and we didn't leave until evening, which was not the plan. Later, entities helping us came through and explained that location is one of many in the town and all around the world that contains a vortex. Energetic vortexes affect locations by disorienting the energy and allowing chaos and creation to thrive. We learned Chims were all over the vortex locations. It was explained the beetle that was touched was a physical manifestation of a specific negative entity that entered my boyfriend's body through the touch. I burned them away. We stopped visiting that location for a while after that day. We became dependent on each other even more than we already were. I cut close relationships with my high school friends and even my own family. They couldn't understand. They will think I am crazy. My boyfriend inadvertently did the same as we tried to navigate through life with this happening. New entities began coming through that summer that stuck around. One day, while my boyfriend was changing entities, a particularly sassy and confused woman came through. She is not human, not from Earth, but a planet on another realm of this galaxy. Multiple of the entities that formed a reliable group of what I think of as good guys were from this location. Her name is Luna, and she became my warrior for where I couldn't fight. We developed a good friendship that hurts me to know that I have now lost. I question myself as to how strange it is to have such connections with entities through my ex-boyfriend's body, but it all truly happened. I honestly don't remember so much as to how this group came to form, but before I knew it, my boyfriend's body was talking to me with 5 different entities trying to speak, and it got extremely confusing. We developed systems for fighting the Cheems and signals for when I needed to speak to a specific entity. They gained information on the other side for us. It was explained to the Cheems and other oh my goodness. It was explained that Cheems and other types of negative entities are controlled by one head entity. The group of reliable entities with us all battled on whichever realm the torturing was taking place. They stopped Cheems from entering and attempted to find the entities working to invade our human lives. Many good entities who came through had names that were unpronounceable with the human tongue. So we had to choose names we thought of on the spot, or they chose basic names like Doc. Doc is a female healing entity who would come through to remove energetic parasites or serious injuries that resulted from Cheems. I do not know how, but she healed the scars and broken bones from using her practice of medicine from her realm. With this group of entities beginning to help through the body, I began attending school in the physical location for my senior year. I attempted to get a job, but I found myself unable to keep it due to the fact I couldn't get out of my room because I don't want an entity to kill my boyfriend's body. I continued burning Cheems out of my boyfriend's body daily and speaking to this group of entities trying to figure out how to make this stop. We desperately wanted to go to someone, but we could not risk ending up in a mental hospital. My boyfriend and I both knew this had to end eventually. We could just see not how it couldn't. We knew it would likely end badly. I just didn't expect it to be as horrid as it was. I began a new job at the end of January 2022, still living with my boyfriend. It helped minimize daily injury, but I still ended up going into school and work with bruises, bumps, cuts, and scratches everywhere. I covered up what I could and focused on trying to fix everything I've been dealing with. My parents began to get suspicious when they saw large red scratch marks on my boyfriend's neck that unfortunately were from me trying to survive a Cheem. I couldn't tell them that. Around the spring of 2022, my mother saw me push my boyfriend and assumed I was abusing him. She was trying to make sense for all the broken doors and damage in the basement. That is when our lives began to crash down. As my mom accused me of abusing him, I did not know what to say. I even tried to tell the truth, and she couldn't even process it. My mom began talking to his mom. Next thing we knew, my boyfriend was moving out and was not allowed to see me. It all ended so abruptly, I was shocked. I cannot further explain the details of my experiences, but it ended with heartbreak and many hospital trips. This experience deconstructed my life and gave me new perspectives I do not know what to do with. It was truly excruciating. By my graduation of high school, I was finally free of the physical pain. No more fighting, no more 18-hour days of crying and bleeding in my bedroom, no more hiding from my family to try to protect them, no more boyfriend. It cost a 3-year relationship, but the vessel is out of my life. I moved to the upstairs room over time for a change. I still turn the lights on every time I walk down to the basement. I feel like I am being watched from the dark corners. I look at the damage on the doors, walls, and, well, everywhere, and I am reminded of the pain. The more time goes by since it all stopped, the crazier it seems to me. I try to convince myself it was not real, but then I recall undeniable evidence with multiple witnesses that convinces me again it is more than real. Thank you for reading. I am working on writing more, but it is emotionally difficult. One day, I hope to have the entire experience written out. I understand this may conflict people's beliefs, but this is just what happened to me and is what I personally know to be true. Thank you again. That was heavy. It was really heavy. But I hope that you guys don't mind that I read that to you. There was so much detail in here that I truly could not, my mind could not memorize that entire story. So I hope that was okay with you guys to read that to you. I also hope you understand why I don't feel comfortable sharing this on the other platform, because if this is true, if this is this person's truth, I think that they are still struggling. As they said, they find it emotionally difficult to tell this story, and I personally don't think that they need to see the hateful and rude comments that come across on that other platform. And we're a little smaller here, so I felt safe sharing it here. And also love to hear your thoughts on what you think about this. I'm gonna honestly just not. I sat on this one for a long time. A long time. When did this come in? Yeah, so this came in March 9th. So I have been sitting on this story, and it has boggled my mind. I've researched, I've tried to find like things online to explain like the names that she came up with, and I can't find anything. But I'm the type of person who, if you come to me and you are like, I need help, like, please keep me anonymous, I believe you. I don't know. So thank you guys so much for being here. Please let me know your thoughts on that, because I really love to hear them. What do you think? And we can have conversations in a respectful way over here. So I really appreciate this little platform and this little community that we have here. I love you guys so much. I feel like we're like best friends. So I hope that you enjoyed the story today and that you're okay with me reading it. I just couldn't memorize all of that without like, I feel like leaving out some details. So as always, I hope that everyone has an absolutely wonderful day, and I will be back with more actually later today, I think. So I'll see you guys again.